Well, for some reason, over the course of years, I have not run into Robert Scoble really
Uh,
until just a few weeks ago. And then I ran into him in a way on X, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how come I haven't hooked up with this guy yet? And I sent a little note, and Robert responded, and here he is. Um,
yeah.
Holy mac, Robert.
I'm like you. I write books about things. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know.
I
Only
wrote about Robotaxi 5 years ago in this book.
I think yours probably sell like 10 times as much as mine do, though.
That means I sold 10 copies. I don't know. Does anybody read books anymore?
Well, no, I'm done with books. What about you? I'm done with. I'm
No, yeah. Now I'm writing them for the AIs. The AIs are reading the books, right? So you got to write
exactly.
a book for the AI agents, and then they,
I
maybe
know. Just let them write it for you. But I mean, yeah, publish them. Are you kidding me? I can
that's
get
coming next.
I get a larger crowd and more money from one YouTube video than I do from spending a year writing a book.
That's the way it is. Nobody reads books. Nobody reads anymore, you know.
What's going on with it?
They're looking at TikTok.
So you've been around the tech world your entire, not even your entire adult life, even
Yeah.
going into your teens.
I was Apple's first child laborer back in 1978. My mom built Apple II motherboards in our kitchen and taught me how to solder on Apple II motherboards when I was 13 years old. And so I grew up in Cupertino, California. My dad had a PhD and it was a nerd,
Yeah.
and so building satellites for Lockheed Martin and other
Okay.
things. And so, yeah, I've had a front row seat for a long time on this big game of, and now big tech. Back then it was little tech, but
Yeah, and then somewhere along the line, you started investing in some of these tech companies, and Apple turned out to be, I mean, Tesla turned out.
I invested in Apple early, and then I sold it at 25 cents because I took a job at Microsoft,
Oh,
which
no.
is a good lesson for the Tesla investors,
Never
it,
sell. Never
well,
sell.
never sell, but if you make a mistake and you don't get in early, I bought back in at 48,
There
and
you
then
go.
Warren Buffett bought at 80. And now it's at 100 and something. Right? So it's never too late in this game, to get
Never,
in.
never too late. Yeah. So you've been a Tesla investor though since
20,
2018, you told me?
2018, I had the first ride a decade earlier with Elon. He gave me the first ride in the first Tesla. And back then I couldn't afford one. I mean, it was a rich boy's toy, right? And I watched it close up for a decade. And I had a Toyota Prius, you know, which I'm glad I don't have
I'm
it
sorry.
anymore. My 7-year-old car updated last night. I mean, Santa brought me some presents. My Toyota never did that.
Oh, I know. So you've bought in 2018 and never sold. Is that the rule?
Never sold, never
Oh, yeah.
sold. And Grandpa bought the kids some stock back then, and they're doing pretty good. They have no fucking idea.
They'll know about that later. Yeah, right.
Yeah, maybe. If
So
Daddy doesn't go to the Bahamas with the money.
so then in November 2021 we hit 410, and here we
Wow.
are again. I mean, just today you're joining the channel on the day when we might touch 410 again. We're
I,
a buck away as
I
we're.
have a I have a guy, I have a friend a long-term friend, who's my money manager. He manages big name clients, right? A lot of money. And he told me not to buy Tesla back in 2018 because he says it's way too speculative. How is this car company, a little startup car company, going to make it against all the big ones, and Toyota's going to eat their lunch.
Yeah.
But he made me do my homework. And I drove my Tesla to Detroit to get a tour of the Ford plant with a Ford executive, right? And to do my homework to understand the competition. So I would have some convictions because I had to convince him to let me invest in Tesla.
Wow.
And he was right, by the way, because Tesla, after I bought, almost went bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
It came close to going bankrupt.
According to Elon, you
I
know,
believe him,
well,
actually.
he does hyperbolize.
I
You know,
know, but I actually believe him about that. I know people working at Tesla, and they said, yeah, it was close. It might have skated through the trees and a little bit before the plane started getting lifted again. But it's gone down, I think, 7 times more than 40% since I've owned it, right? So if you don't have conviction, you're going to sell. In fact, I had a neighbor who lost money in 2020, a year when it went up 5 times, right? Because he bought at one of the peaks on the hype and he didn't have conviction, right? He didn't know anything. And he sold at one of the troughs. It went down and he sold right before it went way up, right? And so I don't play those games because I can't figure the tops and the bottoms out. I can't figure out what the market's going to do tomorrow. It might crash tomorrow. I mean, I've been through a few of those, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't play short-term games. It's somebody else's game who
I
has a
did
good
that.
AI system.
I did that for a year and I picked the right year to do it. I did it that year. I made 33 times my investment, just going in and out on leaps and stuff. And it was crazy. I would never do it again. It's so hard on your health. It's like,
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
like, even if you're doing well.
You used to have more hair back then.
Way more.
You didn't get sleep. You were worrying about, oh shit, what's the market gonna do tomorrow?
I know that's exactly
I
what you
mean,
do.
I know Steve Jurvetson, the first investor in Tesla. Compared to him, we're all just like, chumps. He bought in like a cent a share. I'm not that smart, but I bought in, and
Right.
I've done all right, and I'm happy, and I'm starting to do homework again to build a conviction, even deepen my conviction for the next decade. Like CyberCab is next level,
Right.
right?
Okay. So you said you've been writing about CyberCab. You wrote about you wrote
Yeah.
about the concept of autonomous cars and whatnot. So now you're digging deep on that again. Talk
Yeah.
talk to me about your current level of your sense of where we are.
Well,
In,
I'm coming in at it from the AI point of view, the experience point of view. What is it going to? Okay, so Uber was invented right in front of me in a Paris snowstorm, right? And I interviewed Travis Kalanick at the Stanford Business School, who's the co-founder of Uber. So I've studied transportation as a service since day one, right? And that's why I wrote about robotaxi in the book, because I was like, oh, what happens when Uber doesn't have humans anymore and a car is driving around the streets, and how does that change the economics of the company? How does that change the experience? And by the way, I've been around the world. I've been to 80 different countries, and in South Africa, I visited a slum to understand how housewives in the slum were affected by Uber, and it brought deep change to their lives, right? And so I understand how, when transportation as a service comes to your neighborhood, it's going to really change everybody's lives, and that's what I was writing about. Now I can see it because I'm studying the AI world now. I'm following 25,000 AI people on X.com. I'm following 5,800 AI companies on X.com. And I'm doing a lot of interviews with robot companies and AI agent companies, and studying what's about to come, because the world is about to change, not just because of CyberCab,
right.
right? Your business is going to be automated. I just interviewed the founder of ERP AI, which is a small company helping small businesses automate their stuff. This thing's going to do your market research. It's going to answer your telephones. It's going to do your books. It's going to run your factory floor, your inventory, right?
Right.
And do it in a way that SAP, it's hard to learn SAP. Here you just talk to your agent, your AI, and you're a
Take
chatbot.
care of
And
it.
hey, how many widgets do I got in the back?
Yeah, no, I had a factory for 29 years, and the hardest thing I've ever done in my life was install ERP. Now that was 35 years ago. It
Yeah.
was harder than my first year of law school. I mean, it was the hardest thing I've ever tried to do.
I
And
learned SAP. That's a hard one.
yeah, now
Isn't the
the
book like
agent,
like that thick?
yeah,
I mean,
I know. Now the agent will do it for you, huh?
pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
so exciting. So
This is exciting because it's really going to change life for everybody. I mean, and it's coming at us from a bunch of different angles. But Tesla Corporation is one of the big angles. It's like, if you're not, I mean, there's another show done by Brian at As a Futures. He just interviewed all the engineers on the CyberCab and really ripped apart the engineering. Okay, let's set it up. my Model 3 that I bought a Model 3 in 2018, the back of that has something like 70 different pieces that are welded in to the car. Now, you know, a Model Y now replaces that with one piece,
Right.
but the CyberCab only has 80 pieces
Total. Yes.
total,
Yes. Now,
right?
by the way, Brian and I do 2 shows a week, and last night we did it on the CyberCab. Okay.
Oh yeah,
That show
he's
just published
he's
last night.
next level. I mean, if you're not listening to Brian about CyberCab, you know you're missing out because he's by far the best I've heard in the community. I listen to everybody. I'm on all the shows, you know, with Sawyer and Omar and Alexa, Alexandria. All right.
Alexandra, yes, Alexandra.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
all right. So the CyberCab, Elon says his top executives say that it'll be out this summer.
Yeah.
Are you on it? Are you believing
In,
it?
in Elon's world, 2 weeks. In our world, it's 3 months, right? So
His executives,
you
but his
gotta.
executives are agreeing with him. They're
I
saying,
I believe him actually because of the engineering done on this car and because of how few pieces it has and everything starting to come together. When will I get one in Palo Alto, California? You know, end of next year sounds realistic. End of 2025. When will I actually be able to order one in Palo Alto? 2026, right? When will one visit my street? 2027. When will one visit your street? 2028.
so the, so the, okay. So the idea that Elon says he's just going to push a button and 6 million, 7 million cars that are out there will automatically become robotaxis and be able to go out there and earn people money. You're not buying that one.
No, I am. I just think he has to set it up properly, and you know, there's a lot of regulation to argue through. Every community is going to have different resistance to this idea. I mean, in Barcelona, Spain, they kicked Uber out of Barcelona, right? Because the taxi drivers all went on strike, you know, until Uber got kicked out of the town, right? So there's a lot. I mean, if we look at it too broadly, when is a cybercab going to be in the slum in South Africa?
Right.
Okay, that's going to be a few years, right? A decade, maybe less, because Uber went from an idea in a Paris snowstorm to being in the slum in 3 years,
Okay.
right? So it became a worldwide company in 3 years. And I think this is going to happen too. So if you and I get a ride in 2026, you know, take it 3 years, by 2030, this whole world is radically different.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Okay. So, and then the other part of Tesla, which is my favorite. Well, I love the semi truck too, and
Yeah.
I'm not even a kid that liked playing with, trucks when I was a
Oh, you
little.
didn't have a Tonka truck in your sandbox?
I probably did, but it was not like my favorite thing. I think my erector set, my chemistry
That
set,
was cool too. Yeah, I had
those,
one of those too.
those are the things I played them. But okay, so now, but my
The
favorite,
Heath kit. Did you have a Heath kit? What?
yeah,
One of those electric kits where you put different wires on different things and you can make, you know, a shortwave radio or something.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like you, I was soldering uh, transistor radios together. Went to some classes at what do you call it, Washington University in St. Louis, where I grew up, and learned how to solder that stuff together.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That got me my first job learning how to solder
as
at
you said,
13.
yeah,
You know, in high school I worked on the manufacturing line at HP and ran a wave solder machine, which by the way taught me something about jobs, right? My mom, it would take 30 minutes to solder an Apple II motherboard, and then we would put it in the dishwasher and clean it off, which is sort of funny. This machine did it in 20 seconds, the whole board.
yeah, yeah, no kidding.
So I learned technology
Yeah,
changes jobs as it
obviously.
comes
Yeah.
along. And now we don't even do that shit in Silicon Valley anymore. We ship that somewhere else.
Now they paint it on. Electronically, they paint it on.
It's now a little tiny chip. It's like,
Okay. So my favorite thing is Optimus. I'm known as the Optimist. And
yeah.
we've got, Optimus stumbling down hillsides yesterday and
That was good.
catching baseballs and all this kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we
I've been in a few robot companies like the 𝐘𝐽𝐴
yeah. So
robot company.
what do you
They
feel?
3D print a little short dude for $8,000.
So what is your feeling about when this becomes real, when it's really starting to show up in factories and warehouses? Have you
Wait. When is it starting to show up in factories?
it's already
Let's
started.
go over to the Fremont factory and walk around. I bet there's a few Optimus in the
I,
factory
I,
already.
yeah, I'm not talking about at a prototypical level.
Okay.
Remember, I'm the optimist. I thought we had
Yeah.
1,000 of them in the Tesla factory now. So I
Yeah,
missed
that's a little aggressive,
I
but
missed by a
by
year.
the end of next year, you're probably going to be right. And, by the end of the year after that, there'll be 100,000, right?
That's exactly my number. Did you watch my show?
No, I just know exponents. I I know when they start making these things because they're making them to be made, right? They're gonna pop them out and they're gonna make them themselves. The first ones that get made are gonna turn around and make another one.
There you go. Yes, right. Exactly right. So,
Particularly, I mean, manufacturing is, I mean, �‌𝐸𝐴𝐵 has a grid of 3D printers in their garage over in Palo Alto making their little short dude, right?
yeah,
And you start thinking about, oh, wait a second, a robot could grab that part out and plug a cheap ass Chinese motor onto it and grab another piece and plug another thing. And all of a sudden, an hour later, you got another short dude.
yeah, yeah. Robots building robots. This is
Yeah.
every, this is everybody's dream scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you've
Or
tracked
nightmare.
our nightmare, yes.
Gonna
So
have a lot of optimists walking down the street saying,
exactly. So as you've visited some of these other factories,
yeah,
your sense is that it's imminent.
yeah. I mean, imminent in human history, we've been evolving for a few million years, 5 years is nothing,
Yeah.
you
All
know.
right.
And
So
if it takes 10, it's still nothing.
still nothing, and it's still exciting, and it's still
I
gonna.
mean, the iPhone is that came in 2007. It seems like yesterday I got my first iPhone, right?
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah. The lines around the block. So okay, so that's the Optimus world, that's the Tesla world. But
Yeah.
you just said you're,
By the way, Optimus with CyberCab
yes,
unlocks a new everything as a service world.
right.
And let me explain what I mean by that. At the Consumer Electronics Show, like 9 years ago, I saw a Chinese company making a little glass cleaning robot. You put it on the glass and goes and munches the dirt until it cleans it all, and then you move it around to the next piece of glass. The problem is you have to do that. I have 20 pieces of glass in my house. So if I got one of these little $300 robots, I'd have to move it around, go outside, move it around until all my glass is clean.
Right.
Optimus can do that, right? So Optimus can bring a specialized robot to your house to do something very specific, like cleaning glass, charge you $50 for it. Hey, you want all your glass? When Optimus is, hey, Optimus, can you get these dirty windows cleaned? Oh, no problem, $50. And then it goes off, and I can go and get one of these robots from a distribution center, bring it to my house, put it on my glass, and move it around to all the glass. It doesn't care about that. It has to do something,
Over and over again.
meaningless, like move a robot around or something like that. And there's already robots that do weeding and snow blowing and all sorts of shit, right?
Mowing, farming, and yeah, all of
It's
it.
infinite, right? So you start thinking, oh, I'm going to have an Optimus in my house. I'm going to be talking to Optimus. Hey, Optimus, I see some weeds out there. Go do the weeding. Right? I hate weeding. My mom used to make me do weeding. I hate weeding. Hey, Optimus, you do the weeding. Oh, no problem. $50. And you start seeing how this thing can really start changing the economics of Tesla Corporation because hey, there's a lot of neighbors that need their glass cleaned. Oh, the Optimist can go across the street and do the same thing, right? And there's a lot of weeds in the neighbor's yard, so right, so a single Optimist can be shared amongst multiple houses in many neighborhoods or apartment buildings or whatever,
Mhm.
and you might not need the robot for more than 4 hours a week, right, to do things to help you around, right? And so it can be at the neighbor's house the next day and the other neighbor's house the next day after that, right? And be charging them $50 to clean their windows and collecting a little fee, right?
So
So
then we have, the one of the big questions is what are humans going to do, in that world? And
we are going to find weird shit to do. I am not. I mean, Linda Wyman's a billionaire. She doesn't need to work. She has a whole ceramics lab full of 3D printing equipment that's printing out her pottery, right? We'll find something to do. You
I
know,
was thinking, I was thinking one of the things to do would be what they call the ownership society, which is
yeah.
I own the robot that you were just
Yeah,
describing that
yeah,
goes
if
out
you,
and charges people $50 to do the glass.
I might have three of them running around the neighborhood, a little robot business. I don't know. Yeah, that's one job. But I mean, the founder of ERPA, I laid it out. There's 30 million small businesses in America, most of which don't use technology to run their businesses. They're running, maybe on a spreadsheet and a QuickBooks to run their books.
Maybe.
Maybe he says most of them don't even have that.
So the last 17 years, I've been a consultant to small businesses. I've had over 400 clients, and most of them wouldn't know how to read a spreadsheet
Yeah.
if you laid it out for them, line by line.
Uh, but this is why we need AI, because AI can read the spreadsheet and explain it to you. Hey, here's your profit, here's your loss, here's what you owe in taxes,
And
right?
here's what you can do, and here's what you can do to make it better.
And it could even high five you and go, "Hey, you had a great month and sold a lot of widgets." Right? High five. By the way, I've already talked with my wife works at Broadcom, big AI chip manufacturer, right? It's one of the biggest companies in the world. And I was talking to her about Broadcom strategy, but I had Chat GPT listening to me. And I laid out, I did what I'm doing here, laying out a strategy for the company and what I would do and right that. And then Chat GPT give me this lengthy like praise, like, oh, that's a great idea. That's really well thought through strategy, and added on a few things. A little piece of melted sand made me feel good.
Right. Yes. Nice. Yes. 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 It is.
And so you'd start thinking Optimus is going to interact with you like this because it has the same same kind of large language model running its brain that ChatGPT has today or Grok has, right? And so you start thinking, oh shit, Optimus is going to be part of your family.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're going to feel better about Optimus than you do
Oh,
with your family members.
yeah, they praise you more. And Optimus will actually listen to you, and not
Interrupt. Yeah. Right.
yeah, get bored, My family doesn't do that. When I start talking about Tesla, it's like they go, shut up, Scobel. We all know about Tesla.
All right. So you mentioned, of course, that you are following, I believe you said 5,700 companies. Maybe I got the
So
number wrong.
59, 58, it's
59.
a lot.
Whatever the it is.
All split up
Um,
into lists, so I categorized them all, right? And
uh,
yeah, I tell people send your AI agents to the list and make even more categories. The AI agents can look at all those companies and figure out what they do.
Yeah, so public stuff that's publicly available. I'm not asking you to give up anything you've signed a paper about, but
Yeah.
so of the things that you're watching right now, which ones just really pop out at you besides Optimus and Robotaxi that are just like, oh my goodness, this is going to be crazy.
I have a list called Holodeck, which is about 800 companies, and it's all sorts of weird companies doing virtual beings, doing virtual movies. Okay, so here's an example. Hollywood is investing in a little startup at USC Cinematics Art Film School right now. This little company has built an AI that understands everything about human beings. Like everything, like how we work, what our demographics are, what we like, what our preferences are, and can talk to you about human beings. And then it's done the same thing for all movies. So they've ingested all movies and it understands which movies have a 1957 Chevrolet in them, right? Or anything. And they're going to build custom movies for you that are going to be pretty fucking amazing. right? Coming next year, right?
Coming next
So,
year.
coming next year. And holodeck, the holodeck list of companies has virtual beings and new 3D experiences to be in, all sorts of weird stuff that's coming. At the Consumer Electronics Show in 3 weeks, LG, Samsung, BOE, big Chinese company, are introducing new little tiny projectors that are a third, maybe a quarter the size of a sugar cube, that go on the edge of your glasses, which have a new kind of glass in them called a waveguide, and it shoves the light into the waveguide, and trillions of little mirrors in the waveguide reflect that into your eyes. So when you put on these new glasses, you can see Fox News in front of you. But you're not going to use them just for 2D stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's going to bring a new light field experience, a 3D experience that's on everything, right? That's the holodeck. And they're also introducing light field TVs, light field watches. You look at your watch, it looks like jewelry because it has depth to it, right? It has a light field display in it, a 3D display. And so we're starting to move into a 3D world,
So
right?
let me back up on that one. So okay, so
Yeah.
the glasses, you have to wear the glasses to get all the other effects.
Well, no, 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 no.
Oh,
The displays are 3D TVs coming, new ones that are really mind blowing.
I see.
They have a little camera. They find your eyes and they focus billions of little elements on you, and they do 3D like a piece of the holodeck, right? So if you're in a 3D world, you can see some of the world on your new 110-inch TV that you'll get in 2026, right? If you're a rich person.
A rich person, yeah, but it'll come down. It'll be
2028 for their normal people,
gotta be
right? The cost will
$1,000
come
in
down
2028.
eventually.
Yeah, right.
Right. 3 years ago, I bought an 83-inch TV. It cost $8,000. Now it's $2,000.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right. So, if you want to be in first, you got to spend your 8 grand to get one of these new TVs, or 10 grand. If you wait 3 years, it'll be 2 grand. Right.
Right, exactly. So
Right.
we spend massive amounts of time in front of screens. That's
Yeah.
not going to go down, you're suggesting, and so people are trying to come up with better screens.
Apple has a lot of these at their headquarters right now. So they're planning out the next decade of their products already done. Really, really. I mean, they're doing R&D on 3D that's really mind blowing, and the Apple Vision Pro is
Right.
really mind blowing, and is the first example of this 3D computing, spatial computing, right? And it has deep implications for the Tesla Corporation as well, because 5 years from now, when we're riding around in one of those gold cars, and going to a city center, you're going to be wearing a pair of glasses, and it's going to change the car deeply, right? Because you don't want to look at a little screen, and even though it's a nice big screen, it's still a little screen. You
Yeah.
put on the glasses, and it's big. Right, you put on a Vision Pro, and the movie theaters is as big as a plane width, right? Where everybody else is looking at 10-inch
Sure.
screens and the seat backs in front of them,
Sure.
right? That's why nerds like us are like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring in our Apple Vision Pro when we go on the plane tomorrow.
All right. So I'm totally nerded out on all the 3D stuff. I saw some of the earliest holograms in Santa Monica when I was a very young man.
Yeah,
Around 2021, there was a little tiny hologram shop under Santa Monica Pier, and I happened to run in there one day, and I was hooked from then on. So with the Apple Vision Pro, I don't know if you have any sense of what happens next, because people were saying
this thing.
yeah, so people were saying that was really kind of for the nerds, kind of for the folks to create some,
I
and
I
that
told my family, I told people on X, don't buy one.
they'll buy one.
Right. I told my family and friends, I said, don't buy one. It's too expensive. It doesn't do enough, and it's too heavy. You're gonna be hating me if you go into debt and put it on a credit card. You're gonna be bothering me every week. So don't buy one. I just said it up front. Don't buy one. And there's a new one coming probably around the end of next year, which is when the holodeck really starts arriving. The
Uh,
new one will be lighter, probably not cheaper,
oh,
but
really?
have a lot more GPU to do a lot more of this newer holodeck 3D stuff. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg's VR headset, it's like $500, right, for a Quest 3.
Mhm.
Maybe yeah, let's just call it $500 to keep it easy. He has 2K screens in them, and most of his VR is done by Unity Labs or something like it with little vectors, little lines. You can't see the lines, but you can sort of see them if you know what to look for. That something will have a little bit of a um, it's not a photorealistic look, right? It has a cartoony kind of look to it because of how the technology is drawing the image that you're seeing in the VR. And they had to do that because they had, that was designed 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and it has Qualcomm chipset running it. It's a small little GPU, and they couldn't overpower that too much. So, and the technology just wasn't ready to do full on photographic stuff, but there's a lot of innovation coming in the photographic world. We call them neural radiance fields or Gaussian splats. It's a newer technology than neural radiance fields. And then there's convex splatting that's just coming on the screen. In fact, all the nerds are up in Vancouver right now that do this. 10,000 people who are building these kinds of things. So this new convex splatting world, when you're in a pair of glasses, puts photorealistic 3D on top of the world. I mean, the Apple Vision Pro, everybody should go to the Apple Store and get a demo. It's free. You know, go get the 30-minute demo. It's mind-blowing because when you put it on, you see what you think is the Apple Store in your hands, right? You can put your hands in front of it and like, oh, I see my hands. Yeah, okay. You're not seeing your hands at all. You're seeing the holodeck. You're seeing millions and millions of little volumetric pixels around you. And all of those pixels can be changed. In fact, in the demo, they'll teach you how to turn the crown, and then you're in Yosemite National Park instead of the Apple Store.
Mhm.
You weren't seeing the Apple Store. All you did was change the computer screens, right? But it is mind blowing. It's like, wow. And that's the new world of everything,
Wow.
right? It's going to make you see at night walking around a city, right? It's going to tell you names of things. It's going to change your experience deeply with a pair of these glasses on eventually.
Right, right.
2026, 2027, which is when CyberCab shows
Eventually,
up. No,
eventually.
it shows up at the same time as CyberCab.
2026 is going to
Yeah,
be
something like that. 2027, 2026. I mean, next year's going to be mind blowing for all of us because the AIs are just, we're getting the holodeck. You're going to see it by the end of next year, right? You're going to be able to go to an Apple store or a Meta store or a Best Buy and see it.
so.
Certainly sometime in
So
2026.
let's take just a slight detour, but same
Yeah,
subject, kind of different. What are you hearing from these AI guys out there and because you're in touch with so many of these people? What
yeah.
are they saying about Memphis? What are they saying about Austin in terms of these data centers that Elon's putting in? Is this,
It's table stakes. If you don't have 100,000 NVIDIA cards in a building somewhere, you can't play the game.
but it's 100,000? That was last year.
Well, that's
Next year
table
it's a
stakes,
million.
right? If
Here's a
Mark
million.
Zuckerberg has 300,000, right? So you want to keep up with Mark, you better figure out how to get the data he has, which he has 3 billion users, right? And Google has even more, right? And they're building out data centers. It's table stakes. It costs a lot of money to play the big game, which is build a big model like an OpenAI Chat GPT or Mark Zuckerberg's building Llama models, right, with his data centers. And Tesla is building a whole bunch of models to run our cars, run our robots, and run Grok.
Right.
New Grok is coming. So it takes 3 months to stick all of the world's information into one of these NVIDIA data centers, right? And out pops a bottle 3 months later. But then they need to work on that model and fine tune it, fix it up, add some guardrails to it, do all sorts of work, maybe even have to rerun the model because they made a mistake or something went wrong or da da da. So it takes 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 9 months. Well, they've had their data center for what, a month, 2 months? So you can sort of say, okay, in about 9 months or less,
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Grok 3 is
Grok
coming.
3 is supposed to be January.
Grok, well, okay, like I said, Elon's 2 weeks sometimes turns into 3 months, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, Siri was launched in my house. I personally slipped Siri 2 months because I found a bunch of shit that wasn't working in it, right? So, things can slip in this industry. And so I always add on a little cushion for them. But certainly by the end of next year,
Mhm, mhm.
we're in a new world. This new world, Grok 4, whatever it is, right? The Grok that we're going to have in our cars and on our phones by the end of next year is going to be a multi-party audio experience. In other words, you can sit an iPhone with Grok or its competitors down on the kitchen counter and have 4 people, 5 people around the phone talking to the phone, and it knows who's talking to it and can talk specifically to you, right? Like if Jane wants to go to an In-N-Out, it can talk to her. If I want to go to the Computer History Museum, it can talk to me about that, right? ChatGPT only has one user right now. It doesn't really work with multi-party, and it doesn't keep track of everybody around the phone. But that's coming. There's startups already. I'm seeing one at CES and probably going to work in their booth because I want to understand this multi-party world very deeply. There's a robot company in Seattle that has multi-party robots that they're going to be in the Accenture booth at CES. I'm actually driving or going to Seattle after Christmas to see these robots working together. So
Mm.
you start thinking a factory floor that has 4 robots doing something. They can actually lift a big piece of metal out of a machine and put it somewhere or put it onto a machine and build it or have it machine further or whatever, all working together. And I know Optimus is gonna get there too, right? When did you say Optimus might have a few thousand in a robot in a factory?
Yeah, they're saying next year they're going to build a few thousand. That's not just Elon.
Yeah.
That's the,
So that all fits, right? The
yeah.
new Grok is coming to the robot. It's multi-party. You can have multiple things working with a robot, right? And talking back and forth and working together to, lift something together or put something in a lathe or whatever whatever the weird thing is we do in our factories, right? Making shit.
Well, I have a business idea for you.
Yeah.
I think you should put together a map for CES and sell the map as the best booths to visit at this upcoming CES.
Yeah.
We'll buy that from you.
The problem is I find out about weird shit and then it changes the map. I need to have some AI agents helping me out.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because
All
the
the cool,
show is because the
all the
show
cool
is
stuff. I mean, all the cool stuff. Like the 3D sensor on the front of the phone that was built by a company called Prime Sense that Apple bought. I was in their suite in a hotel room somewhere at CES like 15 years ago, right? And so, yeah, it's a fun play. Yeah, I should maybe
well,
do
the
some
thing is
tour.
so big. It's
I
so
do
big.
tours for billionaires, by the way. I
What do
took
you
a
do?
billionaire. Yeah, I took a billionaire around CES and we had a good time.
But they're a dime a dozen now. They're
Yeah, but
everywhere.
they have the money, and they have the money to invest in the companies I'm showing them, right? So that's the trick, right? So
All right.
how do you get ahead of NVIDIA or Apple or Tesla? You got to go to the back halls of CES and look around.
Yeah. So you're very big into the AI's, kind of
Yeah,
future, especially the visual side of it, the more
yeah.
screens. So what else?
Well,
What?
and I'm just trying to keep up with Elon. I mean, the thinking on the CyberCab, it's obvious they put this in the simulator and ran hundreds or thousands of experiments. How easy is it to get in the car? What if a wheelchair user needs one or something else? I just put salt in my Tesla to get my water softener, right? All sorts of things like that, right? What if you get picked up at the Home Depot and you need a CyberCab there to pick up your salt, and put it in the car? How does that all work? How many seconds does it take? All right. And can we make that even faster? Because seconds matter.
Right.
When you have million, I mean, he said eventually there's going to be 10 million of these things rolling around the world, right? So if he can take a second off, second off, hey, a friend of mine worked at Facebook at the core technology team. He goes, "There's a bug at Facebook that kills somebody every day." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, it makes it a tenth of a second slower every day for everybody. And because you have 3 billion users, a tenth of a second ends up killing somebody every day." In terms of a human lifespan, right?
Yeah.
It kills
Yeah.
80 years of life every day. So they're they've done so much engineering and thinking about how does somebody get in the car? Do they want to get in the front or put something in the front or right? They're way ahead. They're ahead of everybody. They're ahead of me. They're ahead of Brian. I mean, that's why Brian, I asked him, was there any question that they hadn't thought about that you could come up with? No, same thing. I was at the We Robot event. I couldn't think of anything to ask them that they hadn't thought about, right? It's like, oh, these people are
Like,
doing some really deep thinking in a simulator.
so we have the AI side of thing. The agents are coming. The agents are coming. But then
Yeah.
we've also got the embodied side. So this is where Tesla has the big lead. Is on the
This is
embodied
why
side.
teleoperation's so important, right? Everybody was giving us shit for having a teleoperated robot, right? Oh, that's not AI. There's no AI there. Oh yeah, well, we learned later that it actually was more AI than we were thinking. Maybe the human talking to us through the robot was a human, but he probably had a menu of things that like pour a drink, right? And the AI was probably pouring the drink. And certainly it doesn't matter. By the end of next year, it'll pour you a
It'll all
drink,
be there.
all AI, right? It doesn't matter. The teleoperation operation, the engineering that went into We Robot event,
Yeah.
when you, because I've been to humanoid robot companies that have teleoperation operations, because that's how you train the AI models to do all sorts of new things, like fold your laundry. They have to get in a VR headset, embody themselves into the robot, and then teach the robot how to fold laundry, and then have the model study that over and over and over again, or record that over and over again, stick it in a bunch of NVIDIA cards, out sticks a new model that, oh, okay, then it starts doing the laundry. And the teleoperation organization to have 20, how many did they have at We Robot? Like 20 of them walking around the streets with us.
Yeah. I think it was about that many.
To have 20 robots with a crowd of people around that could have jostled it, right? Is and have it low latency and have it not fail. I didn't see one fail, right? I talked to him for a couple hours. Right? It's like this is dope, and right to have that all low latency and doing it in front of us at with a crowd of people around it, right, is just impressive.
Mhm.
So you start looking up at the buildings. There was a lot of Starlinks up there,
Sure.
passing around packets real fast
Ah,
from the VR headsets down to the robots, right? And that's going to be 50 years from now. If you have an Optimus, your kids have an Optimus in their house, doing shit, teleoperation is going to be a major feature. You're going to want to teleoperate it into your robot, if you're off on a business trip, or if you send your robot on a business trip, right? You're going to want to be teleoperated in that so you can see what's going down.
instead of a hologram, you will be in the bot, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else are you hearing about any other embodied AI out there besides
Oh,
the
yeah.
okay.
The electric sheep companies making robots to do landscaping. They call themselves an embodied AI company,
Okay.
right? Embodiment, putting AI that's embodied in a thing. That's one thing, but putting a human embodied in there can help you do something weird, right? Because there's people who have weird landscaping things that the robot wasn't trained to do. Oh, you got to jump into the robot and do it remotely, right? Until they have the AI training to do your weird, shaping of your plants or whatever you're trying to do. The owner wants something weird done.
Right.
So yeah, uh, when you embody yourself into a robot, it's so weird. It's so cool. It's like you look down at your hands and they're robot hands.
Yeah.
It's like oh, and then you move your hand because you're wearing gloves probably or some sort of sensors on your fingers, right?
Right.
So when you move your hands, the
Yeah.
robot's moving its hands, right? It's so cool.
Good
it's
stuff.
it's going to be something we do for decades. Yeah, when we get ours, right?
So so is that your major flow is the AI, the tech? Uh,
Yeah.
are there pieces of that that move over into like medical or into
Oh yeah.
military? I mean, because I'm all about drones and Elon's all about drones. And there's
we,
going to probably be
we have a drone war going on, but not
at
to
least
kill.
1,000 drone companies at CES this time, right?
And who invested in the drone company? Oh, that's not the guy named Steve Jurvetson. Who? What? Oh, he bought Tesla for less than a cent a share. Fucker. He invested in a swarm drone. When you were at We Robot, the company that was flying the drone swarm over us, that was Steve Jurvetson's
Oh,
company.
no kidding.
He's
Uh,
always ahead.
no,
He's actually Elon's boss. If people don't know that Elon has a boss, it's actually Steve Jurvetson, right? Steve calls Elon, goes, I have an idea. Right. By the way, Steve Jurvetson came out of the semiconductor industry. I heard him. I had dinner with him or something like that. And HP's CTO, and they were talking semiconductors at a level I didn't understand. Right. That man understands technology at a very deep level, and which explains why he was the first investor in SpaceX and Tesla and Skype and Hotmail and a whole bunch of other things. He's probably the best investor alive, right?
oh.
So if you're an investor, study Steve Jurvetson. That man has something we don't.
Okay, so what are you seeing in the drone world? Are you just
Other
uh
than the fireworks shows,
other than the fireworks drones?
we got to
Yeah.
build a lot of drones. No, there's a company up in Idaho that builds drones for firefighters, right? So they fly a drone over a forest fire, and it takes hyperspectral imagery of the fire and can tell the firefighters everything about the fire, right? In real time in a teleoperated pair of glasses, so they
Right.
can magically demonstrated this at Augmented World Expo 3 years ago, right?
So instead of one helicopter dropping a bunch of that red stuff all over whatever, they could have 1,000 drones dropping smaller bunches of it wherever it is
I have
supposed
a friend who built the computer vision system for the California Highway Patrol. His vision system just turned on. It watches let's say 1,000 cameras, traffic cameras around our freeways and that, right? And it can tell 500 different events happening on our freeways, like a truck caught fire, a car going the wrong way down the freeway, stuff like that. Box in the road, wrecked cars, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, somebody has a wreck. It can see that in real time and warn the dispatcher, "Hey, on the 405, there was just a wreck," right? He says we need a drone on the top of like every 50th phone pole or power pole. I'm like, what are you
dispatch them.
talking?
Just dispatch them.
Well, no, automatic. Everything will be automatic.
Yeah, okay.
What do you need that for? Oh, it'll every few hours it'll fly up and go on a little pattern around your neighborhood, checking shit out. And he says, all I'm looking for is like stuff like a leaning telephone pole that's
Yeah.
about to fall and could cause a fire, which could burn down an entire community, right? So by fixing the phone pole, the power company has a lower insurance rate
Right.
because they caught the phone pole before it caused a massive $2 billion fire. There's one going on down in Southern
Malibu.
California right now, right? Malibu. It's not good. Nobody wants a fire in their neighborhood. You know? So put some little drones on your phone poles or on your power poles. Go check out the wires every once in a while. Make sure the trees aren't overgrowing it.
Right.
He said he can build a new kind of predictive system. That Google yesterday announced this new quantum computer
Yeah.
that does simulators very well, right? So let's say there's a hurricane heading toward Florida and you're living in Florida. Well, the simulator can know how many trees are going to fall in a 100-mile-an-hour wind and predict where all the resources should be set up so that as soon as the storm goes through, they're there fast fixing stuff and getting communities back up and running. Right. So drones are like, we need a drone program in America.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know?
That's right. That's right.
And you know, if you're naked in the backyard, you know, wave to the drone. It doesn't matter because
All going to be fine.
you're going to have an Optimus in your house walking around with the cameras on it while you're naked in the backyard. Who cares? Let it all hang out. It's going to find your sex toys and it's going to find your guns. So, you know, we're in a new privacy world soon,
Yes.
right? You know, hey, Optimus, what did you do? Oh, you were cleaning my drawers, were you? Okay, you know, and it'll probably have a conversation with you about
it.
you know,
Yeah,
about
right.
all your toys. Oh, you got some cool toys, man. Did you know about this one? Because Amazon just has a new toy. Amazon has all the sex toys, right? And Bass Pro Shops has all the Glocks. So you know,
There
your
you go.
Optimus can
You're covered. You're covered.
that Glock can tell you how to clean your gun.
Right. That's right.
You ask it, how do you clean a Glock? You know, tell it what kind of Glock you have. And,
And they could probably do it as well.
But Optimus can do it. Yeah, you know.
Clean it. Let the robot clean it.
Yeah, can you clean it? You know. Or, can you give my kid a gun safety class?
So in this brave new world, you know, we've talked about all the possibilities, but it all comes.
Oh no, we've only touched like 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10%.
Yeah, we've talked about the kind of the scope.
Yeah.
Part of the scope of the
what's coming for America.
And but it all, as far as this community is concerned, it all comes back to Tesla. So we're gonna watch our Tesla stock. We're going to keep on watching all these different guys, all these different programs, all these different YouTubers. You know, I don't know if you said you're watching everybody, but you know, you should always watch whatever Brian Wong is saying.
Join us, Longs. You know, you want to play shorting games, go watch another show. there's a show for you. You know? There's guys who are like, oh, you should short Tesla. Do your homework. Right. I went to Detroit to do my homework. I covered the automotive innovation industry for a decade before Tesla came along. I got the first ride in the Mercedes AI car. I got, you know, BMW gave me the first ride in the i3 electric. So I know this industry pretty well. Doing your homework makes you have a conviction. You know, it might not be for Tesla. You might decide, oh, I'm going to put all my money in NVIDIA if you do your homework. You know, that's a good game, but I like the Tesla game better because the CyberCab is thought through. There is no competition coming for this. I don't care. I don't care what Toyota does. They don't have this kind of engineering thinking, and they don't have the fleet.
Right.
Well, let's talk about Grok.
Oh, okay.
This multi-party Grok.
Yeah.
Hey, Grok, what's up? It's going to talk to you.
Right. Like a friend.
But it knows how many people are in line at the In-N-Out.
Right.
How does it know that? The fleet, because some Teslas at the In-N-Out. I noticed this when our Home Depot burned down. There was 3 Teslas in the parking lot in front of the Home Depot that's burning down.
Yeah.
Now, if you have 3 sets of cameras like that in the parking lot, you can build one of these new 3D scenes, put on the glass, so you can watch your Home Depot on fire in 3D, and maybe even walk into the fire, you know, to some extent, right? Because it can see into the car, it can make a 3D replica of the Home Depot burning down, right?
Right.
Why did Elon Musk buy Tesla, Twitter, X? Because he knows that the fleet is going to be an information source.
Okay.
There's a Tesla going across the Golden Gate Bridge every second, 1 to 5 seconds right now.
Right.
So if there's a truck that catches on fire on the Golden Gate Bridge, Tesla Corporation's going to know about it faster than anybody else. Well, others might figure it out too, but they'll have a 3D scene of what's going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he can, and Grok can show it to you. Hey, Grok, what's going on the Golden Gate Bridge? Oh, there's a car fire. You want to look at it? Oh, sure. And you wave the phone around. Oh my God, that's a bad car fire. You know, you can talk to it about anything.
Yeah.
I took these large language models all over the world, right? I went to art museums in Spain and restaurants and airports and many museums. You go in the Smithsonian, it knows everything you take a picture of in the museum. Everything.
Yeah.
You start thinking that through, like, oh, wait
Yeah.
a second. It knows everything in every museum in the world. Every museum I took a picture of something weird in the back wall, it knew about it. It's like, holy, it's good. Knew everything about the Holocaust Museum.
Wow.
It knew everything about the slaves in the back of Thomas Jefferson's house,
Wow. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you started thinking about, okay, yeah, multi-party talking to the phone. A new kind of 3D Grok is coming too, right? Grok might look like an old Irish dude. Hey, Grok, what's up? Right? And you look like that. You can see it's 3D. You can spin it around. You can zoom it. You can right just on a phone. I'm not even talking about the glasses
Yeah.
land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Hey, Grok, I what are you going to do with your first autonomous car ride, right? Oh, hey, Grok, I hear that one of those gold cars is out on my street now. Yeah, we can have one to your house in like 3 minutes, right? Oh, that's cool. Uh, I, I want to go see some historical landmarks in it. Oh, there's three of them in Palo Alto, California, right? I can take you to where the first movie was made at Stanford University and show you the plaque, right? Oh, that sounds interesting. Or I could take you to the Computer History Museum. You could go see some really cool shit. You learn more about AI and their new AI exhibit because it knows about that. Because it read the webpage
Right.
about it and
Right.
read my report on X.com about it and watched my video about it. Right? Oh, how long is there a wait for that? Right? Oh, no, it's pretty empty right now. How does it know it's empty? There's a fucking Tesla. In fact,
Right.
there's a supercharger in front of the Computer History Museum. There's a lot of Teslas right out in front of it that can watch everybody going in and out of the museum all day long, right? And know how many cars are in the parking lot, right? Is the car parking lot dense? Is every spot filled up? Is it light? Is there only 5% filled up, right? It can know that. It can know the hours. It can know everything about that museum.
And then you
Oh
can
yeah,
tell
let take me
where
there.
they
Oh, no problem. Your car will be here. And while it's taking me there, it's teaching me stuff about the. Oh, you're about to go in and see the Computer History Museum. Make sure you don't miss the cray.
and
And do you
by the
want
way,
to?
please buy my tickets for me.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. And where's the close?
every Grok is going to be in everything app. Elon said that yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grok can do anything,
Everything. Anything. Yeah.
anything. So it's gonna you're gonna talk to it about. I mean, I talked to it about my best friend's sutures on his back because he just had back surgery. Took a picture of that, and Grok told me, "Oh, that's looking like it's healing up pretty nice. There's some things you should watch over the next few days, and if they get worse, call your doctor and make sure but it looks good right now, right?" I'm like, knows everything about everything, right? And it can talk to you about anything, right? Hey, I want to listen to somebody when you're in the car because it's going to have a pretty nice sound system.
Right.
Hey, I want to listen to some Buddy Guy. No problem.
Pops up.
Can you
Yeah.
teach me about Buddy Guy? No problem. My Chat GPT taught me how to play poker as my autonomous car drove me to San Francisco a couple of weeks ago to go to an AI poker party, right? Because I didn't know how to play poker, and I'm like talking to Chat GPT about this, right? Hey, how do I tell if somebody's lying to me
Right.
during the game, right? What should I be looking for? And it told me it's like, oh, watch, what they do with their chips. How do they change their behavior with each hand? And map it, to what they actually have, right? Um, and you'll be able to figure it out over time. It give me all sorts of strategies to how to play the game
Right.
as
Right.
a
Right.
beginner or as an advanced person, right? I mean, we just had a nice chat for an hour. I was talking to the AI for an hour as it drove me to San Francisco, right? Because once the car starts driving you around, you're 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 gonna be talking to the AI a lot.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, Grok, I want to watch a movie.
Yes.
Hey, Grok,
Yes.
what's happening in the news? Hey, Grok, bring up my business. Let me see what's going on in my business. Talk to me about that.
Hey, Robert, we're going to need to leave something for next time. So
Oh, there's always going to be a next
that
time.
sounds like a really cool time to cut it off right there. Absolutely appreciate you coming on
I
because
love you.
I love all this future stuff. It's something that obviously my channel is all about the future, and I will look forward to having you back and back and back, especially
Stay long.
especially after you go to SEC. You're going to be so filled up.
CES.
I mean,
CES.
sorry, TES. I'm all right.
Yeah, yeah. Are you
Those,
going? You're not going, are you?
you know,
Because there's an autonomous car dinner there.
sitting here talking to you is making me go, maybe I should go.
There's a dinner of autonomous car journalists there. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, great. Thank you again, Robert, and
Love.
look forward to the next time. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.